back to SlydeBytes. If you're not familiar with the channel, this is a budget guitar and gear review channel. This is, everything you see on this channel is my own equipment. Nothing is provided to me by any companies or anything like that. As of right now, which is now, oh my gosh, November 2024. This year has flown by. Anyway, so, gear we're just using is this beautiful Charvel Pro Mod SoCal. In double drop B, we were playing on the neck pickup split when we were doing the clean, and then I went full humbucker on the bridge for all the heavy metal high gain kind of stuff. So, if you've been watching the channel at all recently, you know I've been talking about the orange micro dark here recently a lot. I did 2 videos on that, an unboxing and a full review. And today I just I wanted to talk about something that's kind of been on my mind. I've been thinking about this a lot, and last week I made a video about my 5 favorite guitar body shapes, and in that video I played my Vox Valvetronics VT20 Plus, which is right here, another hybrid amplifier. And if you watched last week's video, you'll know how it sounded. I also did a full review on that way back when. It's a really bad video. I need to redo a lot of my old videos just because I've come a long way in the way I speak and in the way I do editing and everything. Or maybe I've gotten worse over time. I don't know. You tell me. Or don't. I don't know. Anyway, but both those amplifiers, this Vox here and this orange micro dark, are both hybrid amplifiers. So if you're not familiar with what a hybrid amplifier is, it is an amplifier that usually has something like a 12AX7 tube in the preamp, everything else being a solid state and transistor type driven everything else in the amplifier. It is kind of not as talked about, I feel like, these days. But what I do think is interesting is I think people are moving away from some things like this and going more towards most people are playing in their computers and things like that, or using everything's on their computer or in a model or some sort of capturing device, all this sort of stuff these days. And you're not hearing as much about these, but there are a lot of people still using like pedals that will have similar technology built in, a tube and everything else being transistor, solid state, all that stuff. So what I think is really cool about these is the fact that, for what they are, you do get a lot of the benefits of having a tube amplifier if you do desire such things. I do think you have to kind of realize that they are a balance of both. It's a compromise. A lot of people don't seem to realize this, unless you're using, the older technology type tube amps and everything. A lot of modern amplifiers, if you want a high gain channel, especially a high gain channel at lower volumes, you probably have a fair amount of solid state. A lot of amp builders will put some sort of, transistor circuit, something in there to be able to get high gain volume or high gain performance out and tones and all that out of your amplifier, even at lower volumes, things like that. Or at any volume, just to push it harder. It's basically like think of it like having an overdrive pedal built into your amplifier to do that. Now there are amplifiers that don't do that. That it's all just tube and they don't have that. Anyway, beside the point. When I think of hybrid amplifiers, what do you get? Are they still relevant right now? Personal opinion, I do think they are. And here are my reasonings why I think the hybrid amplifier is still relevant and very, very handy. For one, they do sound really good to this day. That has not changed. Again, I'll just play something here real quick. We'll just do some cleans on this. They sound really good still, and if I crank up the gain, tighten up with some EQ and an overdrive. fat. They're still really fat. They have a lot of tonal variety, and they still can be driven to do stuff that solid-state amplifiers don't quite perform as well with doing. Like doing that, if I wanted to do something in the middle, you know, kind of crunchy, let's turn the gain about right here, and... coil split. Lower the gain just a little bit. So get a little bit of that really classic sounding grit and you know, you have modelers and amps now that can do that sort of thing. But I don't feel like solid-state amps, practice amps, a lot of your generalized practice amps get that sort of thing. And of course, again, if you're using the computer or modeler and all that stuff, you probably have access to similar things. But if you're just a bedroom guitar player looking for something that can do a variety of things, but still sounds really good, I still personally do believe tubes do tend to sound better than a lot of the stuff. The gap is not that far anymore, for sure. But I do think in person, in the room, when you're sitting down playing, which is how I do everything, I'm just sitting in a room playing guitar, I do think that tube amps do tend to sound better, more rich, more full, more dynamics. You can push them a little harder. You can play by strumming harder, cranking your volume knob up, or roll your volume knob back down, and play a little softer to decrease some of that. I'll show you again. We'll go on the bridge, and we'll have the volume. Let's go ahead and just do gain all the way back up again for a second, and we'll shut the noise gate off here, and I'll show you. So basically, what I mean when I'm saying that. So that's a very cool response, and there are some decent solid-state amplifiers and modelers that can do that sort of thing, but you really do see that with tubes. It has a much better sounding breakup, the distortion characteristics, the gain characteristic, however you want to put it, sounds better in my opinion through something like a hybrid than a traditional solid-state. But again, there's some exceptional solid-state amplifiers. Don't think I'm saying there aren't any. But as a general rule, for someone who's sitting in their bedroom practicing, I think that you might want to consider hybrid tube amps because I think they do offer some benefits. For example, your preamp tubes like your 12AX7s last forever. It's one of those things. So like this Vox back here, this thing I have not ever changed the 12AX7 in it. It is still the factory 12AX7 preamp tube in there. They last forever. I don't recommend doing that, but I have never changed it. But just so you know, it's still going. It works just fine. I just used it last week. Your preamp tubes can last a long time as long as the amplifier is well taken care of and you're not driving it too hard. But still, you can still get your preamp tubes. They're available. You can get them pretty easily especially through online retailers, and you may even be able to go to any guitar center and buy them. I think the hybrid amplifier, especially for the bedroom guitarist, if you want something that's still usually affordable, I mean, these are both low budget amps. This is probably a couple $100 back in the day. Who only knows what they're selling for these days? And this is, again, $200. You just need a cab. If you want something, I mean, look how small and portable this is. And you can hook it up to any 8-ohm, cabinet. And this one is similar. It's a little 8-inch enclosure, 20-watt amp, but you can push it to 30 or 30-ish, something like that, by driving the tube harder with a dial on there. It's a really cool idea, and that's something that you can only get by using a tube. Like, that is cool technology, that you can drive that tube a little bit harder by increasing that knob. That's why this thing has been so awesome. I never really saw the need to upgrade to the new version of it. I still like this amplifier. These microdarks are not new. These have been out for a long time, but they do a good job at what they do, and that's giving you a tube-style tone without having to drop the heavy cost of a full-on tube amplifier, and you get in my opinion, probably pretty good reliability. I know some people have had some issues. You can get lemons with any product. And that's something I like to remind people of when I get comments and things like that, where like, oh, I bought mine and it right broke. Well, that can happen with literally anything. That's just, unfortunately, the status of everything these days. But as far as what these guitar amps are and what they do, they're great. They sound good. And I highly recommend, especially for all you bedroom guitar players like myself who are just sitting in a room and you want tube amps, you want that tube amp style tone. Now, bear in mind, you can hear some of the transistor solid state type gain in there. You're going to hear some of it. But I think if you compared this to, say, your general, whatever, low budget solid state amplifier, in a lot of cases you're going to be pretty well impressed. You're going to be happy, and if you really want to drive it, like what I was doing in the beginning, just throw some pedals in front of it. You have that option, and it opens the whole world to you. It may be older style doing this thing, but I'm kind of an old guy and I do things an older way. I like my amps in the room. I like my pedals, and I like to sit here and record in front of you guys with just a camera. I'm not running into my computer or anything. I barely know how to edit as is. So it is one of those things, this is just how I do things. I enjoy it, and I think if you're just looking for a tube style tone and you want that sort of performance and you want it on a low budget and a small size, both of these are pretty compact. You get bigger versions of all this kind of stuff, but if you want something like that, I think that the hybrid amplifier is actually still very, very relevant. I think they still sound phenomenal, and even the pedal, amp in a pedal type format is growing. I think that's still a big deal. I think those are very usable, very nice. I don't have any just because I do have all these and I want to get more amp heads and play with cabinets, that kind of stuff, because I'm having fun with that. At the end of the day, you do you for what makes you happy, whatever gives you the most enjoyment with what we're doing here, because that's the point. If you're not having fun with this, what's the point? But yeah, are these hybrid amplifiers like this, is that relevant tech? Are hybrid amplifiers still usable? Are they still, where do they sit? I think they still sit pretty well as a good backup plan for somebody out there, as a compact gigging option, as a as something that still sounds better than most solid state amplifiers, in my opinion, and is something that can be found in the compact form factor. I think the hybrid amplifier and amp head or hybrid pedal amp type deal, I think that's a really viable option. Something used to elevate your performance live by going that route. And it's something you could use as a backup plan for a bigger amplifier. It's something that you can use in your own house for recording. You get really good amp tones out of that are convincingly all tube. A lot of people would never hear the difference in the mix. That's just the honest truth of all this. Again, it's all going to come down to your personal enjoyment and taste. But if you're looking for something that has that fat, thick, and reactive organic tube quality to it, hybrid's close. It's very close, and it's going to be better than most of your practice amps that you buy. It's going to have better gain structure, and it's going to sound, in my opinion, better, and you can still get some really pretty clean and light gain tones out of them. So yeah, anyway, that's all this video was. It's just me saying I still think these hybrid amps are really relevant. I've got two of them. Again, I've got the Vox VT20 Plus, and I've got this, and I just kind of want to point that fact out there. Even your bigger amplifiers like my Blackstar HC Club 40, there's a lot of other amps out there too that have some sort of transistor type gain circuitry in there that are helping push these amps into high gain territory, because I just won't do it, especially at the volumes we all play at. Let's be real. Most of us are not playing on stage. Just part of it. And that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with being the bedroom guitar player or the, Instagram musician like myself. So guys, I hope this was helpful for anybody out there, or just kind of a food for thought type of topic. Just something to consider that, these are still usable. If you guys like what I'm doing and you feel like I've earned it, you might consider liking and subscribing to the channel. That does help this tiny little guitar channel grow. And I am trying to grow a budget guitar community here that helps each other find good gear and, honest opinions on things. If you guys also, I did want to say this, I appreciate you guys so much. All of you who are here watching the channel, the subscribers, non-subscribers, if you're here watching it all, I do appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for your time, for giving me a few minutes of your day to hear me ramble in my little guitar room here as I talk about, weird topics like this, random topics like this. But I do appreciate you guys so much, and again, thank you so much for stopping by. If you like the music that I play, or you like the background music and the videos, you might consider checking me out over on Instagram and TikTok and SoundCloud and X. I do post original music in all those places, and it's a good time. I write all of my own music. All the music you see on this channel is pretty much always my own. You might every now and then hear me sneak a little snippet of something in there, but in general, I try to avoid covers and all that because that's not really a good atmosphere for that sort of thing anymore online. So yeah, I write my own music and I enjoy it and it's fun and I try to stay original and it challenges my brain and makes me, that's where I find the most fun anyway. I don't enjoy playing other people's music, I want to write my own. So anyway, if you like that sort of thing, that's where to find it. I do have a membership program for anyone who's interested, but it's you know, it's not super expensive or anything, but if you guys are interested in that, it's there. If you want to help, you know, fund the channel, help me acquire new gear or anything like that, to review on the channel. If you have suggestions for things you want to see on the channel, let me know. Again, I am doing this all on my own budget, so I gotta have some personal interest in what I'm buying too, something I can actually apply to use the way I do use things. But yeah, I'm always open to suggestions too. So if you guys have anything or think something I should check out, let me know. And if you're interested in the membership program, it's there and available. I will work on some members-only content, but I'm not really sure what I want to do with that yet. I'm still looking for suggestions. So if you have anything, let me know. Otherwise, I don't think I have anything else to tell you about. Again, I appreciate you all so much. Thank you so much for being here. More content is always in the works. Keep shredding, partners. Be kind to each other. Be kind to animals. And I will see you guys soon with yet another video. Talk to you later.